Hi everyone, welcome back to my video series all about how to do what you love. My name is Kia Cannons, I'm an empowerment coach and an abstract artist, and today, at the time of recording, we are literally beginning to ease out of lockdown. So I want to focus today's session on the lessons that you may have learned unconsciously from lockdown and getting them to be really at the forefront of your consciousness so that as you make your decisions moving forward as to what you want to do with your life, in your work, in whatever, you are going to be taking with you the lessons that you've learned. Because it is so easy when we go through huge disruptions in our life, like we have with lockdown and COVID, to just drop straight back into our old patterns and our old ways without actually taking a moment to process everything that you've been through and, more importantly, learn the lessons. So today I want to encourage you to ask yourself 3 questions that are going to help you ascertain the lessons that you've learned during quarantine, and most importantly, the lessons that have begun to give you an awareness around perhaps some things that are really important to you for doing what you love in the future. So number 1, I want you to ask yourself, is there anything about quarantine, about that quarantine lifestyle that I've been living for the last 3 months, that I want to keep? Is there anything that you want to keep? You see, so many of us will just automatically think, oh, great, I get to do all the things that I couldn't do. I get to go back to my old life. And kind of push down any feelings or little whispers in our hearts that might be, I actually really enjoyed that, but I guess that's not possible now. And you just kind of resign yourself into your old normal, which of course is not going to be completely normal anymore, but you know what I mean. So take a moment to ask yourself, what did I actually enjoy about lockdown? What about the lifestyle that I was forced into do I want to keep? For me, we discovered as a family that actually we really loved the evening walks that we started to do. We quite often think, right, the kids haven't had enough running around. Obviously, for so much of lockdown, it was stay indoors apart from just an hour of exercise. We've got 2 small boys that really need to run off some steam. And so we'd get to the evening and think, gosh, we haven't left the house. We better go for a walk. And I just loved that gentle energy where everybody's kind of worn out. There's not a lot of chatter going on. We're all just enjoying the beautiful sun going down and the lovely temperature because we've had this incredible weather, obviously, in the UK during quarantine. And so that's something that I don't want to just lose because that was never part of our old routine. And with the children beginning to go back to school, my eldest is now back at school, you know, the old routine can easily fall in. So that's one of them that I'm going to take away. The second one is the default of just simply being at home. I have discovered that I haven't missed being out and about much. There's been 1 or 2 things, 1 or 2 places I'd like to go, but actually, overwhelmingly, I have just really enjoyed the default, not status, but just my state of being is that I'm not going anywhere. I'm just here. And being someone that absolutely loves being at home, I've really enjoyed that. And so it's had an effect on my nervous system and my mind. I'm calmer. My mind is slower because I'm not constantly trying to fit things in. And I feel like I'm just being kinder to my nervous system by just waking up and just doing the things that I need to do at home without trying to fit in 100 other things. I'm the kind of person that when you go out to just run a quick errand, I will think, what other things can I fit in this area that I need to do? And, you know, I just got into a habit of kind of being a bit overproductive and therefore getting into a state of rushing quite a lot of the time. So do the same little analysis for yourself. What is it? Because there'll be plenty of things you want to get rid of, but what do you want to keep from lockdown? Second question is, what did you learn about the kind of lifestyle you enjoy? Similar question, but it's a bit different. Now we're thinking about the lifestyle. Now, again, our brains will probably want to have a problem with the fact that we had to stay indoors against our will, and there was all this insecurity and fear to have to process in our minds, and probably think, oh, I can't wait to get rid of that. But just before you do, and before you start to get into whatever this new normal will look like, ask yourself, was there anything about the lifestyle that you actually really enjoyed and that you want to keep, and that perhaps is going to inform the kind of work that you want to do, or when you're doing what you love, the kind of lifestyle that will look like? For me, again, it was all about being at home. I really discovered such a simple thing is that, I mean, I've always known this, that I love working outside, I love being outside. But the number of times I find myself all set up in my studio here, and then because I guess your sort of life is slower during lockdown, and I'd be thinking about wanting to get outdoors and that I couldn't be, then I started to just move myself into the garden to work. So, that was just a small thing about myself that has made a huge difference. There are so many things when I'm doing writing pieces of work where the research is simply reading, and you can read outside. You don't have to read at a desk or what have you. So just thinking of little things like that, like literally it's a big deal. And notice these small things. A lot of people wouldn't notice, and I wouldn't have in the past, that simply taking any opportunity to eat outside, work outside, gives me an enormous boost to my well-being and makes me feel like I'm living the kind of lifestyle that I have dreamt of. And it's actually possible. I don't have to do anything other than just move myself outside. So really look for those small little nuances, those little subtle things about your lifestyle that was enforced on you, but that you actually enjoyed. Make sure you do that work to see if there are any, and make sure you're conscious about them so that you can include them. Another thing is that I just discovered how much I love giving talks. I did so many of them through Zoom, and again just realized, that is absolutely part of the lifestyle of doing what I love that I really want to incorporate, whether it's going to be physically in person as those opportunities begin to open up again and we can move around a bit more freely, or whether it is still online. That really helped me because again, that helps me to build the vision for my business. Do the same for yourself. What did you really actually enjoy? What kind of lifestyle things felt like a perk? If there are any, you've got to make sure that you're aware of them. And the last question is, okay, what can you now let go of? What do you definitely never want to do again? What was awful? What did you discover about yourself that is definitely not a part of the lifestyle you want around doing what you love? I feel like for me, I've always had this sense in the back of my head, being an introvert and being someone that just loves being at home and loves being in my own bubble. When you're a painter, you obviously spend a lot of time in quiet on your own. And I've discovered that I really didn't miss any of the imaginary pressures I was putting on myself to be more social because, it's sort of told, we kind of get the conditioning that you have to be more social to be normal. But I've realized actually, I really didn't miss it at all, and that it's giving me more permission to let go of that internal pressure I was putting on myself. So what internal pressures have you been putting on yourself that perhaps you learned in lockdown that you actually didn't miss them anyway? So why don't you just let go of them? Another one is, like I've referred to, the rushing. I'm sort of somebody that loves to be productive, and so I can get a bit overproductive. And the having it enforced on me to have to be at home physically and not be able to go anywhere meant that I couldn't do this over productivity. And I've realized I really want to continue to let go of that. And this is the point, guys. It's about really getting conscious about these things, because if I don't sit here and think, I want to stop rushing, I will just go back to my old pattern of rushing. I've got to actually get it in my head, and you have to too. You've got to really think consciously, this is what I want to do more of, this is what I want to do less of, and I'm aware of it, and I'm going to make changes in my life. Otherwise, our brains are just creatures of habits, and they will just go straight back to those old patterns. As soon as life looks more normal, you'll just do the things you always did. You won't think of going for a walk in the evening or moving yourself outside or not being extra productive when you're out and about. You have to make a conscious effort to change your patterns. So that's it for this week. I think it's really, really important to take time to just look back. And I would really encourage you to get your Psychologies magazine this month. I'll just have a look at my screen to see that I can see that I'm holding it up in the right place. There is a wonderful article on page 18 in the society section. There you go. And it has tons of questions here. And it goes on. All these amazing questions that are all questions you can ask yourself about what you've learned in lockdown. Because this whole topic that we're talking about here every week about doing what you love is really not just about the actual work. It is equally about the lifestyle that you want. And so this is a really, really interesting time in your life where you've been forced into a lifestyle that you perhaps didn't choose, and you get to learn some lessons from it. And remember that with everything in life, all of the difficulties, always comes lessons. And if we don't learn them the first time, life's going to send you them in a different package, and you're going to find yourself with the same problems and the same hurdles and challenges to overcome. So it's even better to be proactive and think, okay, I'm going to take a moment to think about the lessons. So enjoy that. And as always, if you would like to get in touch with me, let me know how this landed with you, then just drop me an email at hello@kiacannons.com. The little link is below, and have a look at what else we've got below. We're doing all sorts of things in my coaching membership at the moment. We're learning all about how to slow down and how to simplify your life and give yourself permission to rest much, much more, all inside my membership during July 2020. And it'll be there, if you watch this later, it'll be there inside the membership to watch if you join later on. So if that sounds like something that you need help with, I certainly did, and life has changed immeasurably since I have got the breakthroughs on actually being able to slow down and genuinely give myself permission to. If you feel you need that, then feel free to have a look at the links below for that as well. All right, I'll see you next week.